Hey everybody, how are you doing? This is Chris Irving, Kratom Kingdom, talking to you about the future of Kratom. From the deep dive of research I spent all day doing, it just didn't look like very good news. Is Kratom doomed in the future? It's all up to the FDA, the government. From what I've been researching, the FDA has some pretty strong opinions on Kratom. They think it causes seizures. They think it causes liver toxicity. But you know what else does? Tylenol, aspirin, cholesterol medication. Any prescription you take causes liver toxicity. And there are things you can do to kind of avoid that, and that is drink more water. I try to drink 2 of these a day, which is 32 ounces of water. And the FDA recommends you drink 8-ounce glasses of water a day, which I don't know the math, but 8 times 8 is 64 ounces of water a day. So 2 of these is what the government recommends, or the doctors recommend. And doctors, like I said in the last video, they have half of them, or one side of them says it's a good thing. What the hell is this? The other half of them thinks we don't have enough evidence or data to talk about it. And my theory is, why not get more data? Why not study it? It's out there. It's sold at almost every corner store in America. And now it's being sold in very concentrated forms at your local cannabis dispensary. And they're selling a product there called OPMS, which is something that I'm interested in because it's a new Kratom product. It's called Black Gold or something like that. And it's just supposed to be a very potent mitragina speciosa, which is the active alkaloid in Kratom. And it's got a potentiator in it, and it's supposed to taste okay. And it's a liquid extract, I guess. For a pretty good sized bottle, it's $15. But I've not found any of it online, because I wanted to buy it and try it and then review it for another video. Always looking for new videos and always looking for new Kratom products, but I can't find it at any of my local places that I order from online. And the closest cannabis dispensary to me is in another town, and in my situation, I don't drive that far, alone anyway, unless somebody's dying and I gotta get there. But my car's not in a shape, and my brain's not in the shape to drive that far. I can't even follow a GPS. I'm so stupid now. So somebody asked me if I had gotten their very significant donation that they sent me. And sorry, I'm terrible with usernames, but you know who you are. And it was so generous that it made me sweat, and it made me think, oh my god, this could solve all my problems. It was so generous and so amazing. And then I called GoFundMe, and I was like, well, I have a person that I know that I am in contact with, and he said he donated a certain amount of money, and I don't see it in my donations. And they said, well, sometimes it takes a couple of days for it to show up on our end, because it's got to go through processes and checks, and to make sure it's legit, and make sure that you're using it for what you say you're using it for, so you're not lying to people just trying to get money. So in the next couple of days, I could have had a miracle from God be answered, and I thank you so much. When that comes through, I believe it will. GoFundMe does take a little while to get the money to my account, and then I've got to take more time to send it to my other account, the one that I use for specifically what I asked for donations for, because I don't want to be sketchy and say I need money for this and then use it for something else. But the FDA has some good news and some bad news about kratom. On the one side, they do say that kratom is a good pain reliever. And so I think what they're going to do is they're going to study it, break down what mitragyna speciosa is, extract it, and put it in a pill and sell it. And pharmaceutical companies will sell it as like an aspirin, a Tylenol, an ibuprofen, one of those Motrin or Aleve or Naproxen, I think they call it. And so it would just be another one of the pain relievers, but it's before that it's got to go through thousands of hours of testing on animals and humans and stuff. But as far as just the plant kratom, it's because they don't have any good evidence of it. All the evidence they've got is anecdotal, and they admitted that any death contributed to kratom is wrong because there were other substances found in their bodies via autopsy other than kratom, mostly opiates. And if kratom acts like an opiate, then an opiate on top of an opiate is not going to be good news, and it is possibly life-threatening. But if you're getting off of opiates, then instead of taking the pill, take a cup of kratom tea to avoid the withdrawal symptoms. And that is a safer method than trying to go cold turkey, which never works. And the FDA isn't saying that they're going to ban the substance, but they are trying to schedule it, which means you might need a prescription to get it. And right now there are no drug tests available. The biggest one, the 12-panel drug test that tests every known drug that employers don't want you to use, there's no kratom test. And anybody that says different is just trolling. Because I've definitely researched that and spoke with a lab at my doctor is actually telling me that he would rather me take cannabis than take anxiety medication. So he's not opposed to holistic medications at all, and he's researching what kratom is for me because he knows how important it is for me, and that I want to use it once ultimately I get off of my benzodiazepine once and for all, which was a terrible idea. But I was having such panic attacks that I was ending up crashing my car and ending up in the hospital because of it. So kratom calms me down, which is known to do. The FDA knows it does it. The FDA also knows that it gets rid of pain. So the FDA has this information, but they want more because there's a whole lot at stake. If the FDA stamps their approval on it and it turns out to be to kill 1,000 people, the government's going to look real bad, and that trust goes out the window then. But we're humans. We have our own brains, we have our own will, and if you're trying to use kratom as a recreational substance, you're barking up the wrong tree. It's not that great for recreation. It's not like Friday night, let me sit back and have a couple of kratom capsules and get lifted. It doesn't work that way. Unfortunately, I used to try to chase that dragon because the very first time I took it, it made me feel really good. And it made me feel like I had just taken a hydrocodone or something. It made me feel so good, I felt guilty. And, which is what started me researching it and finding the stuff out. And it does have the potential to give you euphoria, but the amount that you would have to take and the level of in your brain chemistry. We have a lot of receptors in our brain called opiate receptors. I don't know the specific name of them, but they're called opiate receptors to neurologists. And that's when you take an opiate like morphine or hydrocodone or narcotics. It goes in your blood and it gets to those opiate receptors in your brain and binds to them and says, okay, you're high now. Well, kratom binds to those same receptors. So for some people, it tricks them into thinking, hey, I'm getting high. But for people like me, that doesn't happen anymore. I don't know if it's because I built such a tolerance to it or what. But for me, it calms me down. It keeps me from being depressed. And it takes away all my chronic pain, making it so I can actually work through a day. Well, anyway, y'all, that was my short vlog on kratom today, and there's a 50-50 chance. We got to keep involved in the FDA and keep looking it up online. You know, I look at the FDA's, I just Google FDA and kratom, and it doesn't change that much day to day, but month to month it does. You know, it depends on what new idiot is out there taking tons of kratom and taking morphine at the same time, or shooting heroin at the same time. Because if all these things are binding to your opiate receptors, that's what slows your heart rate down. But if you're a normal guy like me or you, then you're taking it to get rid of this chronic back pain you have that you got from working too hard, or from an accident that you had no control over, like a car accident or a stroke or whatever, you know. So I'm saying the future is still a possibility that it'll get better. I do think the FDA and pharmaceutical companies are going to try to turn it into a pill that they can sell, increasing their bottom line, which is usually what pharmaceutical companies want and why they have such a hold over the government and the FDA. And that's not a conspiracy theory, that's a proven fact. So I would encourage you to look out for my later videos, because I'm going to continue following this FDA kratom situation and give you the most up-to-date news on it, and new products. The newest product right now is called OPMS. I don't know what it stands for, and you can't buy it online. You can only buy it at cannabis dispensaries. Google it and then hit shopping and see where they sell it. I mean, it's sold at the majority of the places that I saw were cannabis dispensaries, which I don't have any in my local area, so, and I don't venture much out of my town because I'm too much of a chicken to drive. I mean, I can barely drive. I've got one eye, this eye's blind, and this eye is strained from being used 100% of the time. I should wear glasses, but they're a pain in the ass because I'm so clumsy. I bump them and they fall off my nose. So everybody, I'm gonna put the GoFundMe link in the description. If you have $1 or $2 or $5 extra, it does continue to help me with things like food, medicine, gas, new tires for my car, new software, new editing software for my computer so I can make better videos again. Before my computer was stolen. But I'm not gonna. Once this 500, or if this large donation comes through, I'm gonna take down the GoFundMe account and not ever ask you for another dollar. Just wait until I get monetized, which YouTube is making it very difficult, especially for YouTubers with my specific subject, because it is they're saying it goes against their community guidelines, because it's a possibility that maybe one day it will be a controlled substance, which I'm praying that it doesn't, because there's no reason to control it. All right, y'all. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video in a couple of days. Peace out. Love you all.